Okay, so let's see, not long time, a little bit of time. So I did Vlogmas. So my last post, I think my last upload was the 25th. I think it was Christmas. Um, so after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a few days break, and then I'm gonna start daily vlogging for 2020. That's what was my thing. I was gonna start on December 31st. But let's see. After Christmas was a Tuesday, right? I don't remember. On that Friday, we went to Sam's Club with Nick's parents and everything was fine. And I don't even know what we did on Saturday and Sunday. But then on Monday, the 30th, let's see, that night, Luca had a little bit of a cold and it wasn't anything like really bad. And then on Sunday night, he seemed a little bit more congested, but he was still eating fine. He wasn't retracting or anything. And then it was about, I think like 3:30 or 4 in the morning. He woke up, and he wakes up a few times a night, so that wasn't uncommon. And he just seemed like he was really struggling. He was really fussy. And it was about 5 o'clock when I noticed that he was retracting pretty significantly, just working really hard to breathe, just sounded really snotty. So I made the decision to take him in by myself. My mom happened to be off work still, so she already had Leah for a sleepover. So we just got Lily ready and we dropped her off, and then Nick had to go to work because if he did not go to work, he would miss out on his New Year's holiday pay, which would have been like 20 hours, which would have been half of his check. We just can't afford that. So I went ahead and went to Children's by myself. When I got there, Luca was still playing and like smiling and like, you could tell he didn't feel good because he was like kind of laying on me, but he was still like smiling and interacting with the nurses and everything. His pulse ox, his oxygen level was at 95%, which is like, you know, and then his respiratory rate was pretty high. I mean, like 70, and he's 11 months old, so it definitely shouldn't be 70. And then his heart rate was kind of staying high. So let's see, what did they do? I'm trying to remember. They were seeing if he would still nurse, because I forgot at 5 in the morning he nursed, and then he just like projectile vomited like twice. So everything that he ate just came back right back up. So he nursed a little bit at Children's, but like not a whole lot. So they were getting worried about him getting dehydrated. His oxygen level wasn't going up, it was just staying there, his heart rate and everything. So they made the decision to admit him. When they made that decision, they thought, okay, we're gonna observe him overnight because his oxygen level was like 95, you know, his heart rate won't stay down. So they were like, you know, we might have to give him fluids because he's dehydrated. So we'll give him fluids until he can nurse normally, and he'll probably go home tomorrow. Okay, so it was okay. We got a room and everything was okay. And then I think later that night, they had to put him on oxygen. He was going down into like, I mean, I think it reached 80%. So, you know, he was just desatting, he would be sleeping, and it would just, so, and his heart rate was really high. When they tried to put the oxygen on the first time, he like freaked out. His heart rate was like over 200. His respiratory rate was like 80 something. His oxygen level was getting down to like 80 something. So like 80. So they were like, we're gonna have to hold off, let him calm down. So they gave him rectal Tylenol to kind of like calm him down a little bit. So they made that decision. He fell asleep on me. His oxygen level was still teetering, so they were like, we gotta try to put the oxygen on him somehow. So as he was sleeping, a nurse came in, and she's amazing. She took the oxygen and just very slightly put it, the tape had stayed on because they did let him put the tape on before. So she got it on, and it was a little crooked, but it was working. His oxygen level was fine. So after that, he fell asleep and everything came down. His oxygen level was like 99 and 100 eventually. At first it was like 97. And then as he started getting a little bit better, So I forget how long he was on oxygen, but they finally took it all, or turned it off. They left the stuff in just in case it had to turn it back on. He ended up stopping fluids, but his heart rate, his nursing wasn't quite back up to normal, and his heart rate wouldn't come down, and his respiratory rate was still high. So we said we gotta keep him another night. So then we stayed another night. So that we stayed 30th and then 31st. So me and Luca rang in the new year in the hospital room together. And then we went home like morning time on yesterday, January 1st. So now we're home. He's doing a lot better. So quit taking your kids out sick. Just quit doing it. Quit. Like, I understand, like, I'm somebody who doesn't have a lot of babysitters, and I take my kids a lot of places, but I do try to not go when they're sick. What are you doing?
Baby.
What's Luca doing?
Playing.
Okay. And I'm talking to him about Luca in the hospital. And then just don't, you know, like, Luca's a little bit older, so, I mean, and, like, he still got sick like that. When babies, just don't kiss them, don't touch them. Like, there's just no, like, in the face, like, wash your hands. It's, like, not hard to do. Like, family members and, like, people, like, not really like me, but, like, I know a lot of people have, like, family members and people, like, get mad at them when they say stuff, like, especially about kisses. Well, that's my grandkid, that's my whatever, I'm gonna kiss them. I'm like, no. Like, you don't have to. Sorry. Like, just be mindful of what you're doing. You know, and if you have, like, go to the doctor. Like, I don't know. And, like, there's some people that, like, their kids get sick and they just, like, totally ignore it. And, yeah, you know, sometimes it's a virus. But, like, a virus doesn't mean somebody's not going to catch it. Like, oh, it's just a virus. It'll run its course. Yeah, run its course at home. What? Okay, hold on. So some of the problem, yeah, so just quit being sick around kids. But some of the problem, or, like, the hard thing for me, like, he's in the hospital, and, like, obviously I'm ignoring my own body. I had to sit in a rocking chair for a lot of the night, to keep him upright, and he was crying and not sleeping much first night. And, like, the bed's not that comfortable. Like, my joints are just killing me. So, yeah, I'm trying to survive. It's been a little bit rough. My anxiety is, like, peaking. Like, I've been freaking out all day. So, yeah, he's doing a lot better now. I'm still congested, probably will be for a couple weeks still. He's a little older, so he fights it off a little bit better. But, you know, just kids can get sick easy, especially little babies. Like, when he was 3 weeks, he went from okay to oxygen in literally, like, a few hours of being admitted. And, like, this time they didn't expect him to have oxygen or anything, and then all of a sudden he was. So, you know, just... You know your kid best too. If you have a gut feeling you need to take your kid, you take them. And take them to a children's hospital or something like that. Don't take them to a regular, just, not that they're not good doctors, but take your kid to a pediatrician, to people who specialize in kids. That's just my opinion. That's what I've always done. And I think that that's important. I have had my kids at regular urgent cares a few times and they've been wrong. So, my pediatrician even advised me not to do that. So, but those same urgent cares are fine with me. They're good with me because I'm an adult. You know, just, that's how it is. So, yeah, trust your gut though. Even if you have, there's been times when people are like, you don't need to take them in. And I'm like, I am. And I've been right. And, like, this time, nobody really said anything to me because I think now people realize that my gut is usually right. But even I was kind of, me and Nick were like, I don't know, and, like, even Nick now is kind of just like, if you think you need to go, you go. So I was teetering on the line, and I was just like, you know, I'd rather go and be safe than sorry, and I'm glad I went because he needed oxygen support and fluids. So yeah, now we're just chilling out. The girls are acting kind of crazy, but they were gone from Yale for like 2.5 days, so. No. See, his cheeks are a little red from oxygen tape. You watching Rugrats? You're watching it too close. Wow. See, he likes to do this till all the next games. Did you do that? It's a mess. This is what being at the doctor gets you. It's terrible. Real life. Not many people, especially on YouTube, show their real life house. It's just a mess. Oh, he's still not walking. He can stand. You gonna show him how you stand? I'm gonna pause this. Come here. Hey, stand up. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Can you stand up? Oh, goodness. What? Can you stand? Come here. You got the phone really bad. Hey, hey. Luca. Whatever. He won't do it because he wants the phone.
I don't know.
I'm vlogging today.
Might be able to film.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up Chinese food because that's what we're gonna eat for dinner. Because we need to go grocery shopping. And even if we had food, I don't think either one of us feel like cooking it, and that's reality. So I haven't been doing the YouTube workout thing that I started because craziness has been happening. Well, Christmas happened and I knew that my joints would be hurting. So, you know, I gotta listen to my body and like whatever. And then, you know, like all this stuff happened with Luca, so I can start that soon. Me and Nick finished a movie that we were watching, Instant Family. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's good. Now we're going to bed. Good night night. Yeah, he sleeps in the girls' old vacuum play. Night night. No. That bruise is from when he was in the hospital. We were sitting on the bed, on like the bed that like they have for parents, and he just slammed his head down all of a sudden and hit the armrest. So, I saw the thanks for watching.